98 WJLB.
FM 98 WJLB Detroit. Welcome to Focus Forum with your host, Tracy McCaskill. Focus Forum is where the community of Detroit can gain insight on today's issues, from family and health to relationships and finances. Now, here's your host, Tracy McCaskill.
All right, a very good Sunday morning. Welcome to another great edition of the Focus Forum, moving swiftly through the month of December. Detroit, I know you know that. Welcome. I'm Tracy McCaskill. Glad as always to be here with you. Miss Ariel Collins.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, man. We're going to have a jam-packed show today.
Yes.
Very resourceful and insightful. I'm glad to be talking about on the Focus Forum today for both our JLB and Mix 92.3 listeners, the Michigan Science Center. We all know what a wonderful museum this is, but we want you to really learn why it's so pivotal that families make sure they take advantage of this jewel in our city. The Michigan Science Center is certainly unique. It's fun. It's dynamic, hands-on, offers just a plethora of programs that inspire children and certainly the entire family to discover and explore and really appreciate science, technology, and math. Dynamic learning environment, no doubt. I know every time I'm at the Science Center, all of my senses just light up.
It's like you just got to touch everything. You got to look at everything. You can't just
Absolutely.
walk through there.
You can't just walk through and not be touched by what you're seeing. So we certainly hope that by the end of this program, everyone will know the importance and make it your mission to head down to the Michigan Science Center. I'll say from my vantage point, just math is fun. I was an English brain all the way through school, but my father was a math teacher and a math professor and talked about how fun math is, how it's so important. And of course, I've absolutely, as I've gotten older, I've understood just why math is just so pervasive in our lives. But when I was younger and sitting in math classes,
and my great grandmother, she was a math teacher as well.
So we appreciate absolutely
yes,
science and math. Always got great grades in science and math. I had to do a lot of work to get that A, a lot of work. So I'm glad we're going to be talking about the importance of the Michigan Science Center. And on the line with us for the first time, but it certainly won't be the last, is Dr. Tonya Matthews. She's the CEO and president of the Michigan Science Center. Her diverse background includes academic and professional work as a PhD scientist, educator, community volunteer, and an award-winning writer and poet. And she's currently is serving on the board of directors for the American Alliance of Museums and the National Assessment Governing Board. All right, Dr. Tonya Matthews, lady, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Tracy. How are you?
I am well and so glad to have you here. We really want this to be an insightful half hour for our listeners who, again, certainly know of the Michigan Science Center, but we certainly want them to just get an idea of so many wonderful and dynamic things you guys are doing at the Science Center. And let's start out because, again, we use that acronym STEM a lot, and folks have heard of it, but just to give them just some insight, and I'll let you do that. Talk to us about STEM and what is, the pivotal nature of STEM education.
Absolutely, and I just have to say that you and Ariel are great ambassadors. We have the superstar math teacher and then the superstar great-grandmother math teacher.
Yes.
So holding it down, which is amazing, right? And you guys can't help but touch things in the building.
Oh.
Yes, I can't help it.
Oh, my gosh.
More often. But that's actually the whole point. So STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. It is an acronym, but it's not actually supposed to mean all of those things individually. It's how they go together.
Oh, great.
So, for example, you're using technology to research a science problem. You want to know when the icebergs are actually going to melt after this polar vortex. Well, that's technology plus some science working on, say, math as it is applied to health problems and those kinds of things. Because I think one of the things folks realized is that we have to start treating children like the evaluators that they are. If they're interested, they will be engaged, and they will, like you, work hard for the A.
Yes,
If they're not interested, okay, they're just going to tune you out, and you can sit up there and talk for 45 minutes in the top of the classroom. So the way STEM works is it makes it relevant. It gives teachers, educators, science centers sort of the freedom to bring the real world into the classroom and into the science center and the museum. So it answers the question of why. Why? After 4 or 5 year old, they may not ask you why anymore because they're tired of us rolling our eyes.
Right.
Still the question, why do I have to know this? Why do I have to learn this? Well, you like rockets, you like robots, you like sci-fi, you like fantasies, you like your iPod. You actually feel like taking your iPod apart. You're always taking apart the toaster. You done broke all of the electronics in the house. Or, you want to actually try on a bunch of clothes, but you don't have the budget. So you love that little computer program that allows you to stick your face and all the outfits that you want. Or design your own fingernail polish color. I just bought a spa chemistry kit for my niece as a Christmas present. So all of these things work to make STEM relevant to young people in their daily lives today and help them think a little bit in the future in terms of what it might be like to do something with it, as opposed to just have the title of mathematician or engineer or something like that.
Absolutely. All right. If you're just joining us here on the Focus Forum, you're just in time for a great discussion. We have Dr. Tonya Matthews, the CEO and president of Michigan Science Center. And I know certainly a lot of our listeners know for the last couple of years, really for the last few years, we've actually done our Coach for Kids campaign at the Michigan Science Center. All of our listeners just love this facility, seeing it, embracing it, and knowing that, again, I just call it just a jewel in the city. I won't go as far as to say that what is an unknown jewel, but I will say I want, after certainly this time we have to talk, Dr. Matthews, folks to really appreciate what can happen for you and your family when you take advantage of being in a facility like this. I know certainly I can surmise that the mission of the Michigan Science Center, you want to inspire families to discover and explore and do all of those wonderful things, but really just to walk away changed. So this hands-on curriculum there at the Science Center, talk about why that is so important. Because like you said, folks they want it to resonate in their lives, not just, talk about, science is important, math is important. They do want you, like you said, Dr. Matthews, to tell them, why is this important?
Why is it important? And it's good that you bring up our partnership around Coach for Kids, because one of the things about STEM, I'm not going to pretend that it's not intimidating to a lot of folks. Right?
Yeah.
They spent centuries building up that reputation of that this is the land of genius. But actually, it's just the realm of persistence. Trust me. I know a lot of folks who they're very, very intelligent, but they're not genius. They are simply hard workers, and they were just committed to what could be done.
Right.
So the reason that we partner with certain organizations and groups to do things like Coach for Kids, which may seem slightly left of center, is because we're working really hard to be a neighbor in the community so that it's a welcome space. You may be intimidated by the thought of your child becoming an engineer, but you won't be intimidated by the thought of visiting me at my science center.
Wow.
So I can get you in the door. It's a safe space to explore, to ask questions, to make mistakes, to blow things up, to be loud. If you can break it, we probably didn't build it right. So it's okay.
I love it.
It's okay. So that's part of it. I think what we miss around these fields is that we have to open the door, and we have to understand that it's a big, scary-looking door for a lot of people. And so one of the things that we try to do is that this is one of those spaces. And once you get motivated or really, really interested in something, it is really hard to stop you, right? I mean, that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
So once you get in there, we're kind of like your backup, the thing you kind of carry with you all through 6th grade and 7th grade and 8th grade. These are the years that the kids tend to drop off in terms of their interest and abilities in science and math. But if you keep thinking, but I want to be an industrial design engineer like I saw in that movie at the Science Center, there's really nothing that algebra can do to stop you.
Right.
You will just get through. And I think it's also important to remember the parents, right? It is really important. If we are building a generation of kids who's going to do something different, the parent's job is to support, but it's also to protect. So we have to make the parents as comfortable with this journey as we can, so that they feel like they can support their child in a different kind of career. And doing something that they've never done before. And also in terms of helping parents to understand, they probably interact with more STEM on a daily basis than they're actually paying attention to.
Right.
So it really is more familiar than I think the mystique that's just kind of around all of that. And that's what I definitely bring to the table. I'm a believer. I came through the trenches, but that's also what the Science Center is built on as well.
Wow. And you know what, Ariel, and as we're listening to Dr. Matthews speak, you are making it so clear. That's what our listeners appreciate.
She's making it very clear.
And it doesn't sound intimidating. It sounds tangible now. Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of folks who are listening are saying, okay, because just by virtue of the name, the Michigan Science Center, I think folks really believe they're going to walk in and everything's going to... Sure, right.
Maybe we got to wait a minute before we go there. But no,
exactly.
You break it down and it makes it seem like, you know what?
Makes sense.
Let's go in here and we both will learn something.
Absolutely. And I think that's what it is. Folks are intimidated just by the perception of, just by, again, this title, Michigan Science Center. You're going to walk in and your brain is going to explode. No, you're going to walk in and you're going to embrace learning and absolutely the creativity that's available and, at the touch of your fingertips. And again, for the entire family. Yes. I encourage folks, don't go in there alone if you're so, first of all, don't be afraid.
Okay.
Don't be afraid.
Please
but certainly don't again, like you were speaking to Dr. Matthews with the families. I think families should go in, and make sure you make a day of it to just explore everything that is available to you. Let's talk about supporting girls in STEM. Absolutely. I think that is just so pivotal for our young girls to know that, again, right at your fingertips, this opportunity, again, to master science, technology, engineering, and math. Talk to that, Dr. Matthews.
Absolutely. And I can say for that, I'm excited by all this, and it is a welcome space, and like I said, I've been through it. So, my degree is actually in engineering. I'm a biomedical engineer by training, undergraduate and graduate school, all the way through.
Wow.
Excited, and that kind of thing. People think I'm a genius just because. Really very nice. Really very nice. But even I have the stories. I have the professors that told me I was aiming too high. I have the teachers that would not call on me in class. I had the folks who looked at me sideways, and I had plenty of times when I was the only girl or the only African American in whatever class.
I can imagine.
That I was taking. And so the truth of the matter is that the need to create space and confidence is real. Like for anyone who, for whatever reason, has had the door closed before. So we create these programs for girls in STEM and are working on creating kind of like a comprehensive umbrella for girls in STEM, not because girls are less capable, but because girls are going to face different kinds of barriers and impressions.
Right.
And basically, we are building them up. We are maximizing their interests, their, as it will be known later, attitude problem, when they decide to go through these classes that folks told them they had no business in, and also really relating STEM to things that interest them. Girls and boys are equally capable, but girls and boys are girls and boys. So they have different interests. They have different interests in science and technology and what it can do. And a lot of the standard language and the standard curriculum is really built around things that interest boys. So, yes, girls are just as interested in race cars, and so that does work. But we are also very, very much interested in nail polish, hair technology, fashion, traveling, and interestingly, saving the world. Girls tend to be very, very attuned to these sort of massive social problems, homelessness, hunger, water shortages, all of these different kinds of things, medicine. So all of these different kinds of things. So that's really about sort of creating that space so that girls can see other girls interested in what they're doing. They can sort of erase the factor of being something they're not supposed to be. And then we also do programs. We work a lot with the Boy Scouts and that kind of thing because let's face it, between the ages of 12 and 15, you might need to separate the girls and boys if you'd like to get something done.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, you should.
So there's a lot of human element in that.
Right.
I'm a strong believer and a strong proponent of creating this space for girls so that they do have their own time for their introduction into the STEM fields because we do have a shortage.
Wow.
Just about 51. It's getting close, 49-50% of the workforce in general is women. But the number of women in these science and technology fields is lucky to hover around 20-25%.
Wow.
So we do have a lot of young women literally opting out. And it's not related to grades. They're still kicking butt in elementary school, middle school, high school in terms of the science and math grades. They're simply not choosing these careers.
Yeah.
And if it's not what you want to do, I'm all on board. But if you're not doing it because someone else told you shouldn't, I really don't have tolerance for that.
Oh, my gosh.
I need to sort of create a space where they can kind of get over that hump.
Yeah, we need another show to speak on that, Dr. Matthews.
We do. A whole other show.
Yeah, that's called the Naysayer Show. We've had that show. We're going to have you back on when we have that show.
We'll talk about that another
Zero tolerance for that. Absolutely. All right. If you're just joining us here on the Focus Forum, welcome into the program. We're talking with Dr. Tonya Matthews. She's the CEO and president of the Michigan Science Center. Her diverse background includes academic and professional work as a PhD scientist, educator, community volunteer, and award-winning writer and poet. We're getting some great insight as to the mission of the Michigan Science Center, certainly to inspire children, the entire family, to discover, to explore, and appreciate science, engineering, and technology in a creative and dynamic learning environment. And again, it's one of those places you have to see to believe. And again, I can say that because I've been there many times. But for those, I know folks who probably live a block away from the Michigan Science Center who have never walked in.
And that's so sad.
Seriously,
that's
by the
sad.
end of this show, that's my mission for this segment of the Focus Forum, to make sure you make it your business to go into the Michigan Science Center. All right, Ariel, we want to talk about as much as we can to get folks enlightened on exactly what's going on. Let's talk about some of the other work, the outreach and community commitment that you have there at the Science Center, Dr. Matthews. Some of these local festivals, things that folks really don't know about. Talk to us about some of your other initiatives.
Absolutely. So we have a fantastic traveling science program. And the program was initially created understanding that not all schools, for whatever reasons, had the capacity to get to the Science Center, doing field trips, budget cuts, cost of busing, et cetera. So we created a way to move the Science Center around the city. So that was our traveling science program. But once we have that structure in place, we realized there are a lot of places we can go.
Right.
So we show up at Arts, Beats, and Eats, River Days, the Motown Winter Blast.
Wow.
Awesome. Of course. And then in neighborhoods, Brightmoor, Southwest Detroit, all of these different places. Sometimes it's a festival. Sometimes it's a community center. The Traveling Science Program has a big portfolio of programs that they can do. Everything from classroom size to auditorium size to festival size.
Wow.
There's one that's really popular, Science Palooza, where we basically set it for a couple of hours, and it's kind of like a hands-on science fair where you can bounce around from these different kind of tables and do these hands-on demonstrations. And you've got a really big thing about, if you can't touch it, we need to create a way for you to touch it. So it's not really where you're watching someone just do something. You're going to be in there building the roller coaster. You want to touch the static electricity thing. You do. We're going to teach you that it's called a Van de Graaff, and then we're going to let you touch it.
Right.
Projectiles, water rockets, sort of those kinds of things. Because it was very important for us to be able to serve the community, to be present. But again, it's the welcome, right? So
yes, it is.
If Muhammad's not coming to the mountain's about to move.
Amen.
So in terms of, and it may be you see us at a festival, that was fun, maybe I will go.
Right.
to the Science Center. And indeed, over the past year, we've even stretched that program so that we're using it to become the Michigan Science Center. Our mantra is really kind of like the Michigan Science Center made in Detroit.
Right.
So Detroit is our hub, and it is our home. It's kind of the center of our universe. This is where our headquarters is. But we are the Michigan Science Center. So we've been as far as the UP. And even down to Toledo and all over the state of Michigan and Ohio and some nearby places. We served just about 50,000 children and families outside of our building.
Wonderful.
So far. So we're just really excited about being able to do that and being in other people's environment, as well as, adding a little STEM to whatever kind of festival comes around.
Absolutely.
Particularly like things like the Arts, Beats, and Eats. There's a lot of conversation around STEAM, which is about adding an arts component into sort of the STEM. So, so we just kind of plop right on in there. And there it is, letting everyone do what they're really, really good at. So we can bring the S, the T, the E, and the M, and then we break these partnerships to kind of get the A going. So, every kid or every family can see, where they fit in with options.
Wow. The Michigan Science Center. Learn all about it again. We're giving you a wonderful background by having Dr. Tonya Matthews on with us this morning. But again, let this be your invitation. If you have not taken advantage of the wonderful things happening, something that you and the entire family can enjoy. Again, certainly Ariel and I, with this segment of the Focus Forum, are encouraging you to do that. We know all about it. We've been down there. We already know what's going on.
We've been touching it, playing with everything.
We've been acting up. Yeah,
when I walk
absolutely.
in, I get to touching stuff.
Yes, absolutely. You can't. It's hard not to.
It's like
just want to
explore. You can't go in there and not want to touch something.
Absolutely.
And then you're touching and you're learning all at the same time.
All at the same time.
I think it's an awesome event.
Yes.
And you guys are also doing something, the BOGO, for your admission, and that's good through January 31st.
Yes. So we're having a buy one, get one for membership to the Michigan Science Center. So this is the way this works.
Yeah.
Of course, after listening to the show, y'all are all coming to the Science Center. So everyone within the sound of my voice is coming to the Science Center before December 31st. And so what you do is you come, and when you realize that you are going to come back, right? You get here, you can't do the whole thing in one day. It's 80,000 square feet, and then we bring in traveling exhibits, and it's even bigger. We got 5 theater spaces. You're coming back.
Right.
So what you do is you turn that admission ticket that you just bought into your membership. We will take what you paid for the day and turn it into the membership, and we're running a special for this season that buy one and get one. So for all of the folks who still haven't figured out what the Christmas present is going to be, or you have those children whose birthday falls after like December 15th, and you know that 2 Tonka trucks is not going to do it,
right.
Consider a membership to the Science Center. We also have, we have all different kinds of levels. We actually have the grandparents pass. So that's a great gift for grandparents. And a lot of grandparents I know actually give it to their sons and daughters and sons and daughters-in-law. Right. Gift for the holiday and that kind of thing. So realizing that was the way people were using some of the memberships that they were buying, we created this program during Christmas time so that you can buy one and get one 50% off.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wonderful. And just in time to add that to your holiday shopping list. And
I would love that if I was a kid.
That is a great,
that's like the best
That's a great gift. It really
is. It's like the best gift. You're winning. You get to go out. You're not stuck in the house.
Absolutely.
You can go out and you're learning all at the same time.
Yes, I love it, love it, love it. All right. Again, we are talking with Dr. Tonya Matthews, the president and the CEO of the Michigan Science Center. Dr. Matthews, talk to us about this Indiegogo campaign.
Oh, yeah. So one of my passions is, I like to set a high bar. And so one of the reasons I am in museums and on this side is because I believe in every child. I really, really do. And I believe in being partners to teachers. And the classroom is a special space, and you have to do special things. The Science Center is a different kind of environment where we actually have the flexibility to meet every child when and where they enter. Okay? We have the time, we have the flexibility, we have the capacity to work with all the kids, regardless of what level they're on. And that means a lot to me. That's how I got into this side of the business. And what I also realize is while the cost to come into the Science Center is really, really affordable, I am actually stunned sometimes by how affordable we are. Affordability is still relative. So there are all of these kids that can't get here. And so our end-of-year campaign, rather than just doing sort of a classic annual giving fund, which supports the Science Center and everything that we do, which is really, really important, we transformed it a little. And so we're raising scholarships. Our goal is to raise scholarships for 2,000 kids. And when I say that, it sounds reasonable, but then I remind myself that's $20,000. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
That's a lot.
Right.
So we have the Indiegogo campaign. So if you go to mi-sci.org/support, it'll pop right on the page. And so you can do $10 to scholarship one kid, or you can sponsor an entire classroom for like $250, or 2 classrooms for more. And each one of those levels, it's the give and get campaign. So when you give and you sponsor an entire classroom with kids to come, you actually get your family membership for the year.
Wow.
Or you get free IMAX tickets or free admission tickets that you can share with folks if you're already a member.
Right.
So we're trying to be in the spirit of giving, but we also like to get stuff, kind of during the holidays.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think it's really important and really critical to what we do. We cannot move Detroit and community if we decide it's acceptable to leave a certain number of us behind.
Absolutely not.
And so that's what the program is about.
Wow. Love that. The Michigan Science Center. It's unique. It's fun, dynamic, all of those wonderful things. But most of all, it's a learning experience, I believe, certainly for children and for entire families. One that you will not soon forget. If you haven't been down to the Michigan Science Center, please go down there. Make it your mission to do so. Again, while you out at 16 malls, make it your mission to take some kids to the Science Center. Yeah, make that one of your stops. I mean, we love the Michigan of the Michigan Science Centers to inspire children and families, again, to really embrace learning, engineering, technology, science, math, all of those wonderful things. We cannot say enough great things about what you are doing over there, Dr. Tonya Matthews, and this won't be the last time. Absolutely. We have you on. We have a wonderful relationship with the Michigan Science Center, and we certainly want that to continue. And again, we look forward to speaking with you again at a later date, lady. I've had such a pleasure having you on this morning.
Thank you so much, Tracy. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you too, Ariel.
Yes.
You're welcome. You're so welcome.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. So we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So the Michigan Science Center, take advantage of it. I know you guys are going to be doing some shopping for the holiday. And I think the reason why, first of all, I love learning about all the wonderful things they're doing for the community, again, for the city as a whole. And Dr. Matthews made such a great point in that we're not going to do it by taking certain segments of Detroit and leaving others out. It all has to be cohesive and collective. I mean, it encompasses all of us. But again, this is such a jewel, the Michigan Science Center. We want everyone to learn about it. And again, I want those numbers to increase among, women who are taking advantage of these careers. And again, science, technology, engineering, and math.
Yes.
And again, I guess they want to add the A in there too with STEAM, the arts. Absolutely.
The arts is great too.
Yes,
but the
absolutely.
Science, technology,
come on,
math,
so pivotal.
Yes, please.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. My dad, I would be asking like, math is important. Tell me why math is important. He said, you know that math affects everything in your life.
Every single
like you're
thing.
about to have that salad. How many ounces of salad dressing you gonna put on?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not good. I'm saying, well, you know what? I can balance my checkbook. That's what was important.
That's all that was important. No,
but no, it's
really,
true.
Yeah,
every element of your life.
Algebra. What am I need that for? What am I
well, I have to say, when I was in college getting my journalism degree, and I had to take logarithms, I was side-eyeing. I was like, what?
What is this?
What is? I appreciate the knowledge now, but then I was like, what are these logarithms? What is
you never know what we're going to need for it in the long run.
Absolutely not.
You know, it's so very important. And me, myself, I came in under engineering here at the station. So that was something totally different for me. And I really wanted to go and behind the scenes. I'm like, I want to be behind the scenes.
And you never stop learning. That's what I say. Every year I learn something new and I embrace it as well. So again, make sure you make it on over to the Michigan Science Center. Their vision, their mission to absolutely inspire children and families to discover, explore, and appreciate science, engineering, and technology in a creative and fun and very diverse learning environment. Again, you're not going to see the same thing twice.
No,
it's very tangible. You're going to touch it. You're going to feel it. Like I said at the start of the show, it really just wakes up all of my senses when I'm in the science center.
As soon as you walk in, it's like, oh my God,
oh my gosh.
Just take off. Like I take off like a kid. I'm like, I want to go. I see something new every time I go in
Every time you walk into that science center, you will see something new. So we want everyone to really take advantage of all the learning and creativity that's available for you and your entire family. It is a jewel in the city of Detroit. I've been saying that repeatedly because it's true. And you want to call it one of the best kept secrets, but it ain't no secret. It's right there.
Secret. It's right there.
Go down there and check it out. Right. Absolutely. So again, you can support the wonderful programs that are going over at the Science Center. And again, the great value and savings you're going to have on getting your membership for the rest of this year and the upcoming year as well. All right. We want to thank you all as always for joining us here on the Focus Forum. We say it all the time. Errol and I do this show just for you. We want you to make it a great Sunday.
Do you suffer from giving